everyone. I am Sierra, your peer counselor with WIC, and today I am talking with Laura Ballard, who is one of our WIC moms. I'm so thankful for you coming and talking with me, Laura.
Yeah,
Thank
no problem. My pleasure.
you. So the first question, Laura, is what was your experience like for breastfeeding your girls?
I'm still breastfeeding, so I'm currently still having a positive experience breastfeeding. I loved it with my first daughter, and I didn't have any plans to stop. I thought probably around 3, if she was still like breastfeeding, I would think about some way to try to wean her off of it. But until then, I would just let her call the shots. But I ended up getting pregnant with my second when she was 2 years and 3 months, and she was still breastfeeding to go to sleep at night. And it just got too painful once I was pregnant the second time. So in those first 3 months, I ended up weaning her off, and it ended up being fine. So, but the second, she's 15 months and she's still very much breastfeeding. So obviously I enjoy it to be breastfeeding still almost nonstop for 4 years. So I had maybe a 6-month lag in between kids, but other than that, I was breastfeeding nonstop. And there's definitely been some hardships in there to get through, but you know, like once we got past those things, it's been really great. And I think the things I love the most about it is just that you, especially at the beginning, you know, you're getting the hang of having a baby and packing up to leave the house, and you just don't have to think about it. It's like, I have diapers, but I have everything I need to feed my child. Like, I don't have to think about anything else. And that was really helpful for me, because I was already so overwhelmed with everything else that, you know, like, my body had all the rest down. So that was good.
Yeah, that I like what you say that or how you said that like your body, you were just like, okay, I got some diapers and my body's got the rest of what I need. I know that we've talked about your struggle with Cora like right after birth, and I would love for you to like talk a little bit about like how you were feeling after giving birth to her, and like what was it that like helped you persevere in a way through like those first couple of months?
Yeah. So my birth with Cora all went great. And she was really alert after she was born. And so I had done a lot of research about the actual birth, but then I don't think I was really prepared for what it would take to breastfeed. Like, I don't know. I just thought, like, okay, I just need to get the baby out, and then everything else is just gonna work. And so I did have some concerns about not having enough milk, or, you know, things like that. But I just didn't think things about latch and or having too much milk, which is what I had. I didn't know that was a thing. So so she was alert. I latched her right on, but she didn't have a very deep latch. She was just shallowly on, and she nursed for a really long time that way. And so that ended up hurting, and it hurt for a while afterwards, just to like kind of get the hang of it. And I remember sort of like holding my breath every time I would go to like latch her on after that. But the nurses in the hospital, every time I would go to nurse, I would call a lactation nurse in to help, like every single time. And we were there for 3 days, I think they kept me. And so that was helpful to sort of get the hang of it, because it wasn't as intuitive as I thought. I thought, you know, like, people have been breastfeeding for like since the beginning of time, like it'll just work, of course. But it and it did work, but I just, yeah, I just wasn't sure.
You both
Like,
had to learn.
yeah, you do. That's the thing. Like, it takes some time to figure it out, for your body to adjust to it, for your baby's mouth to adjust to it. And so, and it did. It just took a few months, and I just kept being like, is this right? And it took talking to other moms who had a little bit older babies too, that were a little bit past the hump as well, to keep me going. Like, okay, you won't always be shooting milk everywhere. Like, your nipples will heal, like, and it's going to be fine. And it was, but it was helpful to have that foresight as well.
Yeah.
Thing I was going to say with breastfeeding, persevering, one thing that I found really helpful was having like a breastfeeding snack basket. When I had a newborn, somebody gave me one. It was just like a basket, and you just like had it next to your chair, or you carried it with you when you breastfed, and it had like lots of like trail mix and like easy energy snacks. And especially in the middle of the night when you're starving, like I was so hungry all the time, it was such a like nice thing to have. And also there was like chocolate and stuff in there, so it was like a treat to be like, okay, I'm breastfeeding, and even if it like doesn't feel great, like, you know, I get like a little treat during it.
I was always so thirsty. I couldn't get enough water when I was breastfeeding.
Too.
How did WIC help you in your journey of being pregnant and then while you were breastfeeding? Or still continues to help, right? Because, yeah.
Well, certainly, and just having like healthy food available, and sort of also to sort of like cheer me on, that like to still keep going. But I think too, especially when I was pregnant, I was craving like a lot of just sort of like junk food that wasn't. I think it helps to sort of be like, okay, here's the guidelines of what I should be eating, and like these are the foods that I can get, and that's what I should be consuming right now, not like this bag of potato chips. So I think that was helpful as well. And the other thing,
I know that we've talked about how great, because we've talked about how you didn't have WIC with your first daughter, and being able to have the support for your second has been really great, and it's allotted you guys a lot of really awesome fresh fruits and vegetables like that. Like WIC is so fabulous for getting people fresh fruits and vegetables locally. I know that we have, I think you guys, I think people on WIC can get a discounted farm share. Is that right?
Yeah. So what we did, I didn't know about this last year, and I wish I did. But you could get half price healthy food through Healthy Food for All, a farm share locally, and it's great for the farmers because they get half of the money from Healthy Food for All, and it's great for you because it's half priced. It's so it like makes it much more attainable, because we definitely couldn't afford it before. So we were able to get like a spring, summer, fall share at a farm right up the road, and there's so many that are on the list.
Yeah.
And it's so great. And also we're eating a lot of vegetables. Like I wouldn't necessarily go to the grocery store and buy kale. Like it's not my favorite, but we get it every week, and I'm not going to waste it. So finding different ways and recipes to eat these things, and my kids end up eating like kale pesto and stuff that, you know, I wouldn't have thought to do because I don't necessarily love it. But my kids are just eating so much more healthy foods than I am too. So I really appreciate that, especially in the summer with the fruits and vegetables.
Yeah, that's really amazing. We met last year at Supper Club.
Mm-hmm.
I love that because you got to go and you get to meet like another mom and their babies, maybe like our daughters got to meet, and they played for how long without even know, like it was so funny that they just sat there and played for so long, and we're like So happy. But we got to learn about how to make a really healthy meal. We got to eat the healthy meal, and then we got to cook it to take it home. Like, that's
Yeah,
amazing.
that was great, because I was just, I just had my second kid. I was like, how does anyone cook a meal with two children? Like, I
Yeah.
was just in the throes of it. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. And what was great about Supper Club was it took into account what you get through WIC. So it was like, here's meals you can make with the food that you get from WIC. Because I
Yeah.
was still trying to figure out, like, what do I do with lentils, or,
Right.
and then I had stuff in the freezer, so I didn't have to cook another meal. I could just thaw it. And
Mhm.
so that was another really helpful, great
Yeah.
thing for us.
I would love to also know if there are any other local resources that helped you in your breastfeeding journey.
Yeah, I can't say enough good things about Jillian's Drawers as a resource. They do so many great
Yeah.
community free thing. Like I don't think I paid for almost anything there. And they're just really um, great about supporting you as a breastfeeding parent. And so I went to the new moms group there, and that was basically you show up with your baby and you sit around and you nurse and change diapers and like maybe eat something. And that was so great. I met people that I'm still friends with,
Oh,
and sometimes we would just sit around and talk about like how hard it was to breastfeed sometimes, or like troubleshoot things just as fellow parents. And so that was really helpful. It's also a great place if you're just in the commons and you want a comfortable place to sit and breastfeed. Like I found myself at like the ice festival or something and being, I need to sit down and I have a warm place to breastfeed and change my baby. And it's always there. You don't have to buy anything. They're just open and supportive. Um, and then also they have the latching lounge, and it used to be called something else, but it was sliding scale. So,
yeah.
like I didn't have to have a ton of money to get really great breastfeeding advice from a lactation consultant that, can be expensive.
And that do that. Stephanie, Rebecca, and Summer are all truly just such sweet human beings. And I love going there. I love the Latching Lounge. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, I think they started it up a little after June was past an age, and I was like trying to think of some reason why I needed to go because I just wanted to hang out with them. But I was like, well, breastfeeding's going fine, so I guess can't justify it.
Yeah, no, I get it.
On Facebook, the Mama's Comfort Camp
Yeah.
group, lots of people go on there and just post like breastfeeding questions, and local moms will answer and like tell you about different resources. So that's another great
Yeah.
local thing to check out. Brain is. But I think the last thing I just wanted to say was just that but I think I really cherished the time breastfeeding, especially right away. What like made me persevere was just maintaining that connection. Like I found it really hard after like the baby was just mine, and then like they were out and other people could hold them, and and it felt really weird for somebody to like carry the baby into another room where I couldn't see them, and like that really messed with me. And so I always had an out for like breastfeeding, like, oh, I need to nurse her right now, and I would just sort of scurry to a room by myself and just have this time with my baby by myself when like all this family and friends like wanted to be there and hold the baby. And I totally get that, but that was like against everything my hormones were saying needed to happen. And so it still was like an opportunity to have this like connection between our bodies even after like she wasn't like inside anymore. And so like I just like needed that. And so I think that's what made me like keep
Yeah.
going and being there, because I just like I needed to maintain that. So yeah.
Well, thank you, Laura, so much for getting on here to chat with me today. I'm so appreciative of your friendship, the friendship that we have formed through my work with WIC. We at WIC are just so grateful for you and for being able to talk about this with us. And yeah, thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure. I'm so glad to talk about it too.
All right. Well, have a great rest of your day. I hope you get a good amount of time before June wakes up.
Yeah, me too. Thank you so much, Sierra. It's good
You're
to see
welcome.
you.
Bye.
Bye.